It can safely be said that in Valorant, there is a skin for everybody. If you're into it, chances are Valorant has a skin for it. And right now, as it stands, there are around 400 skins in total on the game Valorant. And with the sheer amount of skins that exist, obviously people have created a hierarchy of skins that they love and skins that they don't love. And recently, I covered skins that people maybe love too much in a video where I was ranking Valorant's most overrated skins. And I personally think that it's way too easy to critique things, and I believe that it takes a genuine passion for the game to appreciate skins that might not be so appreciated. And for this video, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm urnotjustin, and this is Valorant's most underrated skins. Where before, when we talked about skins that were maybe loved a little bit too much and were more hype than they were quality, this time we're going to talk about skins that were more quality and less hype. And maybe after watching this video, there'll be one less Reaver Vandal on the ground. Or in this case, maybe one less Reaver Sheriff on the ground, because this list is starting with both the Magepunk collections. Magepunk has been a really polarizing skin collection. On April 1st, 2021, the Magepunk 1 collection came out, and of course, there was controversy with it. It was shipped to us at 8,700 Valorant points, but it was supposed to be shipped to us at 7,100 Valorant points. And I and others bought it at the wrong price, which we would then later have the difference refunded. Then we fast forward to November 17th, 2021, and we get the Magepunk 2 collection, which again launches with some controversy. This time around, the operator doesn't upgrade properly. See, look, it folds out. Yeah, so that's a glitch. And just with keeping these two botched launches in mind, the Magepunk I feel got a really poor rep as a skin collection that just can't get it right. Between the two skin collections, there's no Vandal or Phantom, but that's the beauty of it, is everything else. There's a skin for what feels like every other weapon in the game. If you already own a Vandal and a Phantom, the Magepunk collection works perfectly to fill the gaps in your locker, with an absolutely fire finisher and just insanely satisfying and good to listen to sounds. I love the way that this sounds. It's just so clean and crisp. Magepunk is so good that it simply doesn't even need a Vandal or a Phantom. When weapons like the Marshal and the Ares don't have a whole lot of skins, especially with upgrades, Magepunk shows up to give you a really reliable and cool for the price skin collection, while also giving us some really heavy contenders for really great skins for the Operator and Melee. And while we're at it, I would say that both the Sheriff and the Operator from the Magepunk collection are S tier and very easily should be equipped way more than other things that people might go to, like the Ion or Reaver, etc. And that's why the Magepunk made this list of most underrated skins. Maybe one day we'll get a Vandal for it. But until then, up next on the list of most underrated skins, the Origin collection. In a world where the skins that you see most in the game are the Reaver, Prime, Ion, Battle Pass skins, Origin came in at 7,100 Valorant points to battle the Contemporary and Ordinary that we were used to. For the same price where you get the Reaver or the Prime, you would think that Origin would have been a strong contender for best skin in the game that everybody owned. Wrong. Despite having one of the coolest animations in the entire game, and being the first skin to give us a brandish animation that you could just eternally hold, unfortunately the Origin collection is not one that you see dropped in game often. And that's quite the bummer because the collection itself is just impeccable. They're not just floating weird circular skins and a protractor melee. It's one of the most versatile collections that has ever come out in this game. That includes 3 color swap variants that are red, white, and blue. And kind of out of nowhere gave us the most crazy sound effects for guns in this game at all. Listen to how the Frenzy sounds when you fire it when it's fully upgraded. That is an oddly satisfying sound that scratched a part of my brain that I didn't even know that I had. This skin collection is underrated simply because of the style and quality of it. Tons and tons of people bought the Prime and Reaver because of their great sounds and reload animations. And the Origin collection in its entirety should be regarded the way that we regard the Reaver and the Prime collections because of its price, its equally creative and cool animations, its insanely unique sounds, and its really cool finisher, which makes the Origin collection one of the most underrated skin bundles in the entire game. While this video is about the most underrated skin collections in Valorant, it's in no order in particular, but this next one could be unofficially considered to be number 1, the Gravitational Uranium Neuroblaster. The GUN collection is another great example of a collection that came out that does not need a Phantom or a Vandal, that can also still have a high quality despite not having a finisher. This 1960s space collection includes 8 items and 3 different variants, and stands out in such a cool and unique way, giving us a ray gun type look on all of these weapons that we got for it. And despite the GUN skins being for econ weapons, it came out on September 29th, 2020 at a time where the only upgradable skin that you could have for the classic was the Prime, and it instantly became a great alternative to having the Prime Classic equipped. And the same could also be said about the Spectre. The GUN came in at a time where there wasn't a whole lot of options, especially for the econ weapons. And despite all this time passing and all these skins coming out, today it still holds its own, with really exciting sound effects and really great variants. And it included a wonderful little gem by giving us the first ever blunt force object melee in the game, the GUN baton. And despite having all these options with finishers and different variants, GUN Spectre is something that I always want to have equipped. The GUN Operator is something that I always wish I would equip. And even though GUN is out of this world without having a Vandal or finishers, it still made this list of the most underrated skins in Valorant. In terms of making this video, I tried to not focus so hard on the pricing of things. I do acknowledge that it is definitely a factor in whether or not somebody will buy a skin, but I'm trying to only acknowledge it as just a factor among many others. Which brings us to our next one, an absolute steal for your dollar, the Infantry Collection. The Infantry Collection came out to us in 2021 for the very, very low price of 2,930 Valorant points. That's for the entire collection. The price of simply just the Reaver Vandal is almost enough to get you the entire Infantry Collection. But what do you get when you buy the Infantry Collection? You simply get 5 different skins. And while the entire collection is non-upgradable, no variants, no sound effects, no finishers, the absolute charm, attention to detail, and overall quality for this entire set is through the roof. Valorant is a game that takes place in a fantasy setting. We have like literal dragons for guns. And with the Infantry Collection, it's just the good old-fashioned, real-life, existing guns that were made to fit into the Valorant universe. While the design of all the guns isn't exactly perfect, it isn't exactly true to real life. The developers tried their best to give us something as realistic as possible and found a way to make something mundane become exciting in a game full of stuff that's already exciting. And of course, the best part of this entire collection is easily the Guardian, because when you fire the last bullet, it makes an M1 Garen sound. Despite the M1 Garen being clip-fed and a carbine being something that has a magazine, a lot like the Guardian itself does. All in all, while not being perfect, the attention to detail for this collection is just so good for the price that you pay for it. And if you're somebody who's into Valorant, but maybe not ultra into Valorant, aside from getting the Battle Pass, I could absolutely recommend getting something from the Infantry Collection. It'll always be cheap, it'll always stand out, you won't see too much of it in-game, and really, the Operator is one of the best Operator skins in the game. The Guardian skin is so cool because of that Garen sound. The Spectre is ultra clean looking and just so detailed with tons of little moving mechanisms on it. And same with the Ghost and Ares, which landed it on this list for Valorant's most underrated skins. There are a lot of factors that make me want to say that a skin is underrated, or that we should just love certain collections a little bit more. My last pick for the most underrated skins in Valorant is Miscellaneous. In the beginning of this video, I said that there was around 400 skins in this game. I stopped counting after I bought all of them, and throughout this entire video, I've been really wanting to just do some honorable mentions for stuff that is really cool despite not being so popular. So I'm dedicating an entire spot on this list to those skins. For each skin that I mention, I'm going to briefly explain why it's pretty cool and should be appreciated a little bit more. The Wasteland Collection, specifically the Wasteland Vandal. A lot like our last entry on the list, the Wasteland Collection had no right being this highly detailed. This skin is a trash skin. Literally a trash skin, but the quality is just so high that you could never consider it to be trash. The amount of detail that's in the Wasteland Vandal alone, every nook, every cranny, every moving part, the gun is practically see-through, is why the Wasteland Vandal is an underrated skin. The entire Minima collection. Minima was a collection that we all thought was a glorified default skin, and by no means is it the best skin in the game, but there's something to be said about the minimalistic detail on the skin. The point of the Minima skins is not to be the default skins, but it is to be as minimal as possible. These square Roblox guns are quite charming for a number of reasons. A lot of people say that certain skins will give you aimbot. This is absolutely unequivocally true about the Minima collection. There's nothing to distract you from tapping heads. It gave us some really charming, more ridiculous designs with the Minima Sheriff and the Minima Operator. Two skins that aren't exactly minimalistic, but definitely stand out as the more ridiculous 80s-esque cheesy type weapons, which is why this collection is slightly underrated. The Aristocrat collection. For the duration of this video, you've heard me mention Prime and Reaver several times because it cannot be denied that those two skins are the measuring sticks for how skins should be in this game. A collection that simply rotated into the store on the same day that Prime came out, the Aristocrat collection, consists of 5 different skins, all starting at 1,275 Valorant points, being a really modest but cool mix of gold, black, and white. A lot like the Prime, for a lower cost. Aristocrat serves as a charming but clean alternative to the Prime, and at a minimum, where the Prime doesn't have a Bulldog, Sheriff, or Stinger, the Aristocrat provides one. for each. And in my opinion, the Sheriff stands out the most as one of the more clean Sheriff skins in the entire game, giving it a spot on this list of underrated skins. Radiant Crisis 001. For whatever reason, the Radiant Crisis came out and we all knew about it, but somehow it also passed all of us by. Despite whatever the reason may be, Radiant Crisis is so charming for so many different reasons. Specifically so, the animations that are included as a part of this collection are stellar, giving us very vibrant comic book themed animations and VFX. And of course, this insane Team Rocket is blasting off again finisher. And while the skin itself isn't S tier, it stands out on its own by looking like something straight out of Borderlands. And the collection itself even gave us the Scout's baseball bat. And while I don't think this collection will ever be the most bought collection in the game, all of that alone, I would say, is underrated. The Battle Pass Artisan Collection. As the years go by, the acts fly by on Valorant. The Battle Passes have gotten better and better. It eventually led us down the line to something that is exciting, being the Artisan Collection. A beautiful glass finish skin that really gives you the feel of it being artisan, meaning handmade. It has a beautiful porcelain finish, multiple variants, and as well, the Artisan Collection is not a green screen collection, but the green screen skins that are in Valorant all have a glassy look and have not resonated with the fans of this game in any way, and have oftentimes gotten a lot of hate. But the Artisan Collection stands out as a collection that's made of glass that people could get behind, and that's why it broke its way onto this list of underrated skins. The Sakura Collection. A lot of the skins that you would find in Counter-Strike did not necessarily make its way into Valorant. Valorant is definitely different in terms of cosmetics and stands alone in its own unique way. But that was until the Sakura Collection came out. The Sakura Collection is definitely something that is straight out of Counter-Strike Go, with beautiful Japanese sakura trees, mountains, and the rising sun, all on a white, plain background, all while including its own details while staying true to the default skins, starting at 2,562 Valorant points, which is an absolute steal for the quality and coolness of the Sakura Collection, giving it an honorable mention on this list of underrated skins. Lastly, the Lux Collection. I've covered the Lux Collection in several different videos about several different topics, and in all those videos, I was saying nothing but great things about it. The Lux is the oldest collection that'll make its way onto this list, and is just terribly underrated. Lux, which is short for luxury, is a skin collection that was supposed to be based off of luxury cars. And in the beta, Lux is one of the first skin collections that actually came into the game, and originally had multiple variants. There was a white and gold version of the Lux, there was a red version of the Lux, and there was the most popular version of the Lux, what the community referred to as the Bape Lux, which was a camouflage version of it, with a kind of fighter jet smiley face on the front of it. The Lux skins are chromy, they feel lightweight, they're stylish, and best of all, they're blue. Who doesn't love blue? And despite the other variants of the luxury collection not being able to make its way into Valorant, it was able to cruise its way onto this list of the most underrated skins in Valorant. And there you have it. That is my list of the most underrated skins in the entirety of Valorant in no particular order. I would really appreciate it if you guys would like the video if you enjoyed it. On my channel, I like to appreciate and enjoy Valorant in as much ways as I possibly can, and I would love to see some discourse in the comment section down below about all of this. But anyways, as always, I'm Justin, and you're not. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and click the bell for notifications so you do not miss a single video ever, even if you're using underrated skins on Valorant. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.